Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Middleton Common Council. Today is August 20th. It is 7:30 p.m. and I'm going to call this meeting of the regular council meeting to order. Will you please assist me with roll call?
Yes, Alder Schaefer.
Here.
Alder Madden.
Here.
Mayor Kuhn.
Here.
Alder Nelson.
Here.
Alder Jackson.
Here.
Alder Hanairo.
Here.
Alder Lorman.
Here.
Alder Crow.
Here.
Alder Kalish is absent and excused.
First up is public hearings, and the time, I have a new computer, so my apologies, it goes dark pretty fast. It is 7:30. This is the public hearing for an application for a combination Class B beer and Class B liquor license by Kickback Bar LLC at 7622 Lisa Lane in Madison, or James Schmuck, Madison, Wisconsin. Is anyone here from that group? Welcome. Anybody here to speak at this public hearing, either for or against? All right, with no comments, we can close that public hearing. And the time is 7:31. Moving on to proclamations. Oh, very good, thank you. Is anyone here for public comments? Again, my apologies, I skipped over that. Seeing none, is there anybody on Zoom? Do we see anybody? Okay, great. Moving along. Proclamations. I'm going to go ahead and read the first proclamation, the proclamation for General Aviation Appreciation Month. National Aviation Day and General Aviation Appreciation Month. Whereas the National Aviation Day was established by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1939 to commemorate the history and development of aviation in the United States. And whereas this day honors the achievements of Orville Wright, who was born on August 19, 1871, and his brother Wilbur Wright, whose pioneering efforts in aviation have propelled the industry forward and inspired generations of aviators. And whereas aviation has played a crucial role in connecting communities, supporting economic growth, enhancing national security, and advancing technology, thereby contributing significantly to the quality of life and economic vitality of our nation. And whereas the Middleton Municipal Airport Maury Field C-29 serves as a hub for general aviation, supporting local businesses, providing flight training, facilitating emergency services, and promoting tourism and cultural exchange within the city of Middleton. And whereas the aviation community in Middleton, including pilots, aviation enthusiasts, engineers, and service professionals, continue to inspire and educate future generations about the wonders of flight and the importance of innovation and exploration. And whereas the city of Middleton recognizes the importance of fostering an environment that supports and encourages the advancement of aviation through education, investment, and community engagement. Now, therefore, I, Emily Kuhn, Mayor of the City of Middleton, do hereby proclaim August 19th, 2024 as National Aviation Day and the month of August 2024 as General Aviation Appreciation Month in the City of Middleton, Wisconsin, and urge all citizens to join in celebrating the achievements of the aviation industry to recognize its contributions to our community. Is there a motion?
This is Jackson. I'll make a motion to approve the proclamation.
Is there a second motion?
Lorman will second.
Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the proclamation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the consent agenda. That's yes. Approval of the consent agenda as recommended to council by committee, commission, and board. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, first, can we pull up the consent agenda so everyone can see? I just want to clarify that items 3, 4, 5, and 8 are all pending city attorney review and approval. And I would like to pull items 14 and 15 discussion.
In that case, is there a motion to approve items 1 through
And I will move
thir-
approval of items 1, 6, 7, I'm sorry, 1 through 13 and 16, noting that items 3, 4, 5, and 8 are pending city attorney review and approval.
Excellent. Is there a second?
Schaefer will second.
Thank you for that. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda items 1 through 13 and 16, with noting that 3, 4, 5, and 8 are pending attorney
Review and approval.
review and approval. Thank you so much. Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Number 14, contract for maintenance assessment services with Associated Appraisal Consultants for the 2026 assessment year in an amount not to exceed $225,000.
This is an IRO. It's recommended by the Finance and Personnel Committee. I move to authorize the execution of the additional scope of services with Associated Appraisal Consultants for an exterior revaluation as part of the 2026 assessment year.
Thorman will second.
Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the number 14, the contract for maintenance assessment services with Associated Appraisal Consultants for the 2026 assessment year, and with the discussion of the revaluation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 15 with a change order contract addendum with Eagle Point Solar for the police station battery storage project.
This is an IRO, as recommended by the Finance and Personnel Committee. I move approval of the change order contract addendum for Eagle Point Solar for the police station battery storage project, pending Common Council approval of Resolution 2024-40, amending the 2024 approved capital projects budget of the battery storage project.
Thorman will second that.
Thank you. Any comments?
Just to note that this is necessary because we need to approve the budget change before we can
Yeah,
approve.
the Sustainability Committee talked about this yesterday, and we're in total agreement with it. So
Excellent. Thank you for that update. All those in favor of approving the change order contract addendum with Eagle Point Solar for the police station battery storage project pending approval of the 2024-40 with regards to the capital project, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to miscellaneous. Number 1 is the request for feedback on public art sculpture at Lake Street Boat Launch redesign. I'm going to look to staff to assist on this. Thank you.
Is this on?
I can hear you.
Okay. So the Arts Committee has a 0.5% for arts that's funded through the TIF District 5 funding, and they have 2 years of funding for a total of $60,000 to do a public art project somewhere within TIF District 5. And they initially were taking a look at Parmenter Street on the east side near the roundabout. But that land is Wisconsin DOT land, and we reached out to the DOT to get permission to use the land, and they said that we would need to get permission from every department, every sub-department within the DOT, which is going to take a lot of time. And so then we were working with Parks and Rec Director Kylie Scherer on the opportunity to include public art within Lakeview Park. And we learned that there was interest in the Parks Board in doing a master plan possibly for Lakeview Park before any additional improvements would be made. And so we thought, well, maybe that's not the best location. And so then the Public Arts Committee decided to pursue including art at the Lakefront Park where the boat launch currently exists. And so that piece of property is public right-of-way. So it's not currently within the TIF district. It's directly adjacent to TIF District 5. And the redesign of the Lake Street Park is also specifically listed in the project plan. And so we thought that that would be a good opportunity. The Public Arts Committee released a call for artists. They sent it to a handful of artists that they had selected that they thought would be a good fit for the project. And then we also posted it on CodaWorks, which is a national public art organization that does a lot of RFPs and RFQs for different large scale public art projects. We received 10 submittals. All are from qualified artists. And the Arts Committee met last week on Thursday to take an initial look at the proposals. And then they are having a special meeting again this Thursday to hopefully select 2 finalists for the project. We don't have any proposals specifically yet. We're just looking right now at the artist qualifications and past work experience, things like that. So the committee would select 2 finalists whom we would invite to see the site, walk through it, and then ask any questions. And then at that time, we can also give them feedback for what we would like to see at that location. And so I would just like to get feedback from the Common Council this evening on whether you support this, moving ahead with this project, and also if there is specific advice or feedback that you would like for us to pass on to the 2 finalist artists when they are selected and once they come and visit the site.
Yeah, if I could comment, because this, as Chair Parks, when we put through to get rid of the boat ramp, and we wanted this to be a public walkable place that was an enticement to people. So I think the concept of art here would be perfect, because you just don't want it to be the end of a street. You really want to have something that will draw people there and say, oh, this is a very nice experience. So I personally support it in total. And the location is just, I looked at the map and it's perfect.
Dr. Jackson?
I myself personally support it too. Anything that has to do with the arts. I've been wild riding around my district and seeing the art that's at the bus stop. So, I mean, I'm personally in favor of it.
I'm totally in favor of public art, and I supported the 0.5% for arts program. And I love the idea of having, especially something maybe with a Native American tie-in. My only concern is that this park is already so small that people have been calling it a parklet, even though that's not what it is. And so, for example, if someone wants to drop off their kayak, once the boat launch is ready, and that's all open, if someone wants to drop off a kayak and then go park their car, is there going to be enough grass space available, or will the sculpture take up all that space?
Yeah, I think within the art that we are selecting, or within the instructions to the artist, you can put kind of what that footing or that space can be, so you can limit where they would have a footing in there, and it doesn't have to be massive, so we can really take a look at that. And then I also think that space is very tight, and I agree with you. And taking a look at a kayak offloading station very near that area, so that people can stack it instead of laying things out, would be probably essential in the future. It's nice to see how people use the park and then adding amenities in to improve the space. But we do have a few grassy areas, but it is very limited. So something Abby and I discussed about specifying that footing and how big that could be.
Okay, thank you.
For concrete.
Yeah, we may want to give the artist feedback that we want something that would be more vertical and not something that would take up the kind of small grass circular area. We don't really want a large concrete pad, so that could be feedback that we could pass along to the artists.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of reiterate what Abby was saying. I think we do want something more vertical and less of a wide base, because we do want the artwork to be able to be seen from the water as well as from the street to entice people down. So
Interesting.
the verticality will be important.
Well, that's wonderful. And I'm glad that you're bringing that up because space is constrained, and I'm glad you guys have thought about that, especially from both sides. I hadn't even thought. This is very exciting. I'm really glad to hear all of this and glad that there's support. So any other comments? Okay, is that suffice?
That is, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Moving on to miscellaneous item number 2, option to purchase solar installation on police station from Madison Gas and Electric.
Madam Chair, the Finance and Personnel Committee discussed this, and by consensus, we decided not to exercise this option, and that's what we're recommending to the council.
And also sustainability yesterday, long discussion on this thing and voted not in support of doing it, that we should leave the contract in place. And that was unanimous vote from that committee.
Great, thank you for that update. And thank you for the update on from finance perspective. Does staff need any other feedback? Okay, very good. Moving on to ordinances, all are first reading. Final action may be taken upon approval of motion to suspend rules under section 1.07 Middleton General Ordinances. Item number 1, an ordinance to amend sections 15.031 and 15.042 relating to stop signs and parking regulations on Pleasant View Road.
Madam Chair, I move to suspend the rules and waive the first reading for actually items 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, is there a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second.
Okay, any comments? In that case, all those in favor of suspending, I'm sorry, waiving the,
Suspending the rules
Yes.
to waive the first reading.
suspending the rules to waive the second reading and voting on the first reading for first and second. For items number 1, 2, and 3, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving to number 1, which would here thereby be reading first and second because of that suspension, is an ordinance to amend sections 15.03 and 15.04 relating to stop signs and parking regulations on Pleasant View Road. Is there a motion?
This is Madden. I'll move to approve the ordinance.
Is there a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second.
Okay, any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving this ordinance relating to stop signs and parking regulations on Pleasant View Road, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 2, an ordinance to amend sections 15.03 and 15.04 and 21.01 relating to stop sign parking regulations and boat moor at Lake Street. Again, this is the first and second reading due to the waiving of the second.
Schaefer will move to amend the ordinance.
Schaefer, and is there a second?
Madden will second.
Okay, any comments? All those in favor of approving the ordinance relating to the stop sign parking regulations and boat moor at Lake Street, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 3, an ordinance regarding remote meetings for council committees. Is there a motion?
This is Jackson. I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Madden will second.
Any comments?
Just a question, how many people are on that committee? That they have a quorum with 2 people?
3.
3, okay.
All right.
No further comments.
I did receive a comment from a constituent who's been watching some of our meetings, and their comment was to remind, a friendly reminder to folks that if you're taking it by Zoom, please do not drive while taking it. I'm sharing this because I've had my own moments where I've taken calls on the motion, and I can do better. So I did pull over in that situation because I realized I wasn't fully listening to the meeting nor fully doing my job. So I am sharing that lesson learned because we can all do better in life. And if we just take that moment, and hopefully we will not have quorum issues in the future. And so if you need to miss because you are traveling or moving, in a car, then you can just bow out or just listen to off video. All right. Any other comments? Yes, Alder
I
Nelson?
think I want to, just for anyone in the audience, I just want to remind people that we are allowed to attend meetings via Zoom. And as long as our camera is on, we are counted as in attendance. Thanks.
With that, all those in favor of approving the ordinance regarding remote meetings for council meetings, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 4. Now, with my recollection, this one did not have the suspension of the rules. So this is a first reading. A charter ordinance regarding common council meeting remote appearances. Is there a motion?
This is Haniro. I'll move approval of Charter Ordinance 2024-01 regarding Common Council meeting remote appearances.
Okay.
This is Jackson, I'll second.
Any comments?
Just a question of clarification, because as I read through the city's comments, it's not clear whether these are referring to the old way it used to be or the new way it will be. So maybe you could clarify with this change in this ordinance exactly what those attendance rules would be.
Well, with respect. Mr. Fleming, can I even just move your mic closer to you?
Yeah.
I got thrown off by that earlier
Yeah,
too.
so the council plays by different rules than the rest of the committees have for some time. And the reason why we're changing the council rules on this by a charter ordinance has to do with some conflicting informal attorney general opinions about what a certain provision in Chapter 62 means and whether that actually requires physical presence. So this is really originates from an opinion back from Larry Beckler
But
a
so-
number of years ago. So this would effectively allow the rules of appearance, the language in here will be more or less the same as they are for the other committees, except with this for the council, we're still requiring at least 5 members
In this
physically
room.
present.
Okay.
Up to 3, it can appear by remote meeting technology. That definition is the same and the requirement to be on camera is the same as it is for the other committees. But so this is kind of a balance to give us a little more flexibility in case we
The
have.
people on camera can't count towards the quorum. That's
If this ordinance is passed, those 3 members that appear would be able.
could count
to
towards that
yes.
5. That's what was not clear to me in that. Okay.
Well, no. They would be able to count towards the total quorum.
Yeah, okay.
We would still need 5
5.
members physically present to have a quorum.
Okay.
So under state law,
Got it.
we need 2/3 of the membership of the council to be a quorum. Even though the mayor is considered a member of the council, the mayor is not a member of the council for purposes of quorum. So that means that otherwise we always have to have 6 members. So really this gives us a little more flexibility in case there are vacations, illnesses, and things like that, and hopefully avoid what happened to us a couple of
Thank
weeks
you for
ago.
that clarification.
Sure.
And I do appreciate that. I know sometimes we get blizzards or people are traveling for work and things happen. So, Alder Haniro?
Just to add, the only reason I didn't suspend the rules for this one is because until 2 weeks ago, when we had to cancel the meeting, I was not aware. Well, I guess we had an issue come up at a finance and personnel committee meeting too, but the previous council, not the one where you were just recently elected or even you folks, the prior one, when we made remote meeting technology available, I know it was with the understanding that it applied to the council as well. Because I recall Alder Nelson at one time, the mayor asked her to Zoom in from her home to test this out to make sure that, and suggested that we each do that so that if the time came when we had something come up or a blizzard or whatever, we all would know that our home technology was set up in such a way that it would function. we would not have done that if we thought, in that case, Alder Nelson was at home unable to vote on anything. The reason I didn't suspend the rules is because I want to have another couple of weeks to just think about this and make sure that it's doing exactly what we thought we already had done. So that's the only reason I'm not
Good wisdom
suggesting
there.
we go straight to the final reading on this one.
Much appreciated. Alder Jackson?
Just for clarity purposes, I see it says that we are also able to vote through the technology. Is that the same as, are we also allowed to make an emotion?
Yeah, if you're
Okay.
allowed to vote, you can, yeah, fully participate.
Very good question.
Okay.
I know that's come up in the past. I'm
Yes.
glad you're bringing that up. I think that happened to me on CDA. I think we had some issue because I think I was offside one time. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Well, and that, I mean, Alder Jackson raises a good point, because does that need to be tweaked to say, like, all the things you can do as a person participating remotely? Is there a phrase in the existing ordinance that talks about, participating fully? And we can refer back to that. I mean, those are the types of things. I don't
Sure.
want to come back in a year and be like, wait a minute, you can't make a motion because it doesn't
I
really
don't
say
think so, but
that.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. I could,
Yeah.
when we bring this back, I could broaden that language.
Yeah, just
of
put
that.
like,
Please, please
full
do.
privilege, full privileges or
Some,
something.
yeah,
for
something
Right.
along those lines. Yeah, no, that's
Reasonable.
not a bad
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
I like that. All right, that was very good feedback. But we're moving on to is there any other comments? We had a very robust discussion on remote. Excellent. All of those in favor of approving the first reading of a charter ordinance regarding common council meeting remote appearances, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution 2024-34, authorizing application for agricultural roads improvement program, ARIP, funding for Unkin Road resurfacing. Is there a motion?
Norman will make a motion.
Is there a second?
Madden will second.
Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 2024-34, approving application for agro funding for Unkin Road resurfacing, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes, I believe that's 6-1. Okay. Number 2, Resolution 2024-36, support for the urban forestry catastrophic storm grant application. Is there a motion?
This is Nelson. I will move approval.
Is there a second?
This is Jackson. I'll second.
Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 2024-36, support for the urban forestry catastrophic storm grant application, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 3, Resolution 2024-37, discontinuing a portion of Greenway Boulevard abutting 8309 Greenway Boulevard. Is there a motion?
Norman will make that motion.
Is there a second?
Schaefer will second.
Any comments? Alder Hanira?
On page 224 of our packet, under the signature, well, actually, there are a couple signatures, but it says, I certify that on the blank day of blank 2024, the above resolution discontinuing a portion of Tribeca Drive in the city of Middleton, et cetera. So
I think I already sent the corrected.
The corrected
I
version.
noticed
Okay.
that sometime
Great.
last week.
Good catch. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 2024-37, discontinuing a portion of Greenway Boulevard abutting 8309 Greenway Boulevard, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 4, Resolution 2024-38, declaration of public utility easement for services at Pleasant View Golf Course. Is there a motion?
This is Madden. I'll move approval of Resolution 2024-38.
Is there a second?
Norman will second that.
Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving Resolution 2024-38, declaration of public utility easement for services at Pleasant View Golf Course, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Oh, wait, any opposed? Okay, Now it passes unanimously. All right, number 5, Resolution 2024-39 approving budget amendment for Police Chief Executive Recruitment Search Firm. Is there a motion?
Norman will make that motion.
Is there a second?
Jackson, second.
Go ahead.
Any comments? I'd say we're all excited to find our next police chief executive with all the seconds. It was pretty exciting there. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2024-39, approving budget amendment for police chief executive recruitment search firm, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 6, Resolution 2024-40, amending the 2024 capital projects budget for the battery storage project.
Schaefer will move.
Excellent.
Norman will second.
Any comments? I think I want to just make sure it was Schaefer motion and Lorman was second. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2024-40, amending the 2024 capital projects budget for the battery storage project, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to number 7, Resolution 2024-41, authorizing holding a referendum relating to the Middleton Stormwater Utility raising its annual charge. Is there a motion?
This is Jackson. I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
This is Crow, I'll second.
So Jackson and Crow, is there any any comments? Alder Naira?
I recognize that this is really clunky and will make it much more difficult to inform our residents about the change. But I believe our city attorney is giving us good counsel on making sure that if this referendum passes, it will be on firm legal footing. The one question I had is, if we look at the paragraph, should it say, shall the city of Middleton or shall the city of Middleton's stormwater utility be permitted to charge customers? I think it should just be the city of Middleton,
I agree with you.
because that's the preceding sentence comes from the statute. And in the statute, the second sentence is talking about shall the city be allowed to do something? And it really is the city that's charging, is it not?
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, it's the city acting as a stormwater utility, but I mean, yeah, having it just be the city of Middleton is accurate and kind of makes it balance with the rest of the sentence. I don't have any problem with striking.
Okay, and then it's all, in a minute, I'll make a motion for that. But looking at the last part of it, without reducing the city of Middleton's levy limit for the charges of the stormwater utility in 2025 and thereafter, do we need the words for the charges of the stormwater utility?
Because it already says on an ongoing basis, right?
Right. Yeah, I would have taken out in 2025 and thereafter, but because of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I wrestle with it because by the introduction of that first sentence for the reasons we talked about.
I'm just looking for ways to take out
Sure.
unnecessary words.
Or do you take on an ongoing basis out?
I think that is from the statute.
No, that's actually not, I mean, arguably, that's part of what the statute still says we don't say, except I put it in there because the addition of the first sentence, I thought arguably, which is really the thing that I urging to add, that actually made it, in my view, a little more ambiguous, is why I added the ongoing basis, so people understood that this was going to be a one-time thing, and basically the stormwater utility was coming off of the general fund and going to be funded by fees. So I mean, I am certainly open to other suggestions for clarity for anything past shall the city of Middleton, because that's where I still think we can depart from the pat statutory language.
Well, what about taking out on an ongoing basis and saying, shall the city of Middleton be allowed to charge customers of the stormwater utility a quarterly charge per equivalent runoff unit that is adequate to fund the city's stormwater management program and to maintain compliance with state and federal regulations without reducing the city of Middleton's levy limit in 2025 and thereafter?
I think that's fine. So you're, from what we have in the packet, you're talking about deleting on an ongoing basis and for the charges of the stormwater utility.
And
the city of Middleton.
and stormwater utility after the.
And stormwater, yeah, I think those changes are.
Okay,
fine.
so I move
That's
to
clear.
amend the question, the referendum question, to take out stormwater utility after shall the city of Middleton, to take out on an ongoing basis and the commas before and after the clause, and to take out for the charges of the stormwater utility before in 2025 and thereafter.
I'll second that.
Do we need to vote on the amendment of language?
Yes. Vote on the amendment first and then the motion as has been amended.
Thank you. Okay, so I am assuming we're all keeping up with the language that was suggested. And Alder Haniro, did you make that motion for the language change?
Yes.
And then Nelson seconded. Now, if I repeat when people have made motions and didn't, it's because just a friendly reminder, Lori is usually watching this next day and taking notes. So sometimes if I'm not sure, I might clarify. So once in a while, I might remind you all. Let's see, any comments on that amendment, that amended language suggestion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the amended language to this section, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Now, moving back to the original resolution 2024-41, authorizing holding a referendum relating to the Middleton Stormwater Utility raising its annual charge. I did have the original motion was Jackson, and seconded by Crow. Do we hold those and then vote on that?
Yep.
Okay.
On the amended
version. Thank you. Any comments on that? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving resolution 2024-41 relating to the Middleton Stormwater Utility raising its annual charge with amended language, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to committee appointments. The first item is appointment of Mary Bechtel to the Public Safety Committee and Uda Balak to the Arts Committee. I believe.
Schaefer would move approval of both Mary and Huda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Jackson will second it.
Okay, great. Any comments?
Just one request, that when we have these individual or onesies and twosies appointments, is it possible to put those on the consent agenda as well? Because anybody can pull it off if they want to discuss, and if any of the appointees, prospective appointees are watching, it would be nice to take care of that in the beginning rather than the end.
Great idea. Brian, can we take that as a opportunity? Great. Thank you so much for that suggestion. All those in favor of approving the two appointments of Mary Bechtel and Uda Balak, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations to them. Discussion number 1, updates on committees, commissions, and boards by council members. Are there any updates?
Just shared the sustainability things that we talked about.
You were talking about that earlier. That sounds like a good time.
But they're also, we've been working for a long time to get this document for the purchasing agreement about ready to go. So expect that soon.
Fantastic. You know I love a good procurement.
Yeah.
I know I need to get out more, but that's exciting. Alder Jackson?
I'm happy to say that Landmarks was able to get a contract. We got somebody that's gonna do our historical assessment. We voted on that.
Great.
We had 5 before us and 1 won. So we're moving forward with that.
Fantastic.
Also in District 5, we'll be opening up an amusement center at the Avery Apartments. And at Eleanor, we approved that. They were in here tonight, but we're happy. 30 pinballs, Pac-Man, all kinds of stuff is going on there.
Great news.
Finally, we're getting open. It's gonna be a bar and grill and amusement.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I'll be going to visit. Do you want to?
Yeah. I just want to make a quick note as the council president that I know summer is such a busy time. I just want to remind us as council members, we're sort of the example in each of our committees. So if there are times when you cannot make it to your meeting, please let your staff, the city staff person who runs the meeting, let them know ahead of time so that we can respect the staff people's time. So they're not coming back late at night for a meeting or staying late for a meeting only to not have a quorum. I don't want us to be that reason. And if you have volunteered to help out for a committee, like a function, those committees really need you. And so if you sign up to work a shift at an event, please, please, please respect that and show up or let them know that you can. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you shared that because I did go to Rock the Ramp and I was a volunteer with the arts group.
Even though you didn't sign up for it.
I think I had told you in passing and then they didn't need me, but
Oh, that's good.
it happened to be lucky for them, but it was a great turnout and the library was right there. So I know, I feel comfortable sharing since we had our aviation proclamation, but that was a fun activity. Upcoming this weekend is Good Neighbor Fest. So not really a committee thing, but if we're all around, I hope to see you all in passing and,
Somebody has a breakfast at the team.
I'm very excited about that. I like some bacon. All right. So now that I've gotten us off course, anybody else on a committee? No, not so much. Okay, I'll get us away from bacon and we'll talk about the business of things. All right. So Brian, will you assist me in convening into closed session? I think we need to make our roll call vote.
We need to make a motion and a second to convene into closed session pursuant to section 19.851E Wisconsin statutes for deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. Discussion on the purchase of a property or an easement at 8330 Cynthia Street. I'll need a motion and a second on that, and then I'll call roll call.
Schaefer moves to convene to closed session.
Thank you for that. Is there a second?
Norman, second.
Thank you. Any comments?
Okay,
Hearing-
roll call vote. Sorry. You
My
got a roll call
apologies.
vote. Schaefer,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Aniro,
Yes.
Lorman,
Yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Okay, we are going to be going into session in 1 second.